Welcome to Global Reality. Let's get started.
So I think for the kind of tourist who's looking to experience something new and something less scripted, I think Kashmir would be a great place.
I'm coming here for the first time and I really love what I'm seeing.
I do agree that the G20 tourist group celebrating here in Kashmir is a perfect occasion just to use tourism as a tool for uniting people, as a tool for peace, as a tool for prosperity.
The biggest thing what I can see here is the nature. The nature is very like exotic for me. In comparison to Poland. And the hospitality of the people is very good as well.
India's historic G20 meeting at the Kashmir International Convention Center in Srinagar ended recently. Although a grand success, the G20 meeting in Kashmir was laced with controversies because of China and Pakistan's opposition to the choice of venue for an international event organized in the region since India scrapped its special status in 2019. However, the event was significant and momentous with over 60 delegates from G20 countries and representatives from a number of international institutions and guest nations attending and witnessing Kashmir's rich cultural heritage and unparalleled beauty of tourist attractions like Dal Lake, Mughal Gardens and Shikara rides, and even exploring Kashmiri crafts, carpets and intricate carvings which has been since long deserving national and international recognition. It was clearly the needed boost to the central government's attempt to promote the tourist potential of Jammu and Kashmir and encourage its economic development and attract foreign investments. A total of 5 countries, 3 members and 2 special invitees decided to abstain from participating in the meeting, opposing the venue as a disputed territory. But did China's, Turkey's and Saudis abstaining from the meeting come as a surprise? Or was India already expecting it? To understand this, we will have to go back a little in history. We all are aware of India and Pakistan's dispute over Kashmir, which started with the partition of India in 1947, where Pakistan claimed the whole of Jammu and Kashmir till 1963. When China annexed Aksai from India in 1963, Pakistan recognized China's sovereignty over Trans-Karakoram Tract, which Pakistan claimed as its own, but handed it over to China under a border agreement in 1963. Pakistan also recognizes China's sovereignty over Aksai. China returned the favor and sided with Pakistan over its territorial dispute with India. Since then, Pakistan and China have locked in the continuous confrontations with India over border disputes. China has brazenly and consistently blocked the blacklisting of Pakistan-backed terrorists responsible for major terror attacks in India in its show of support to Pakistan. However, the Pakistan-China alliance is not solely based on Kashmir issue. It encompasses a broader range of political, economical and strategical interests. However, both the countries seem to have found the border dispute a common ground to heckle India and have never missed a chance to do so. The recently held G20 summit in Srinagar was one such opportunity they tried to exploit, but failed. Pakistan happens to be perhaps the most disgraced, disregarded country in the entire world. This terrorist nation has wreaked havoc in Kashmir since partition and is responsible for thousands and thousands of deaths, either by Pak-sponsored terrorists or by cross-firing. Already on the brink of an economic meltdown, it desperately needed a pretext to go chest thumping about its diplomatic win over India and generate fake media reports about G20 failure to fool the deceivable and uneducated Pakistani population. Notwithstanding their own internal political and economic turbulence, the Pakistani establishment and its intelligence service, the notoriously well-known ISI, began orchestrating a smear campaign on social media to boycott the G20 event in Kashmir. Not stopping at that, Pakistan's Foreign Office is said to have written to all OIC nations to create an environment against the G20 meet in Srinagar. India remained unfazed by the criticism because if not India's paradise on earth, Kashmir, with its warmth of its people, its mesmerizing valleys and pristine lakes, its handicrafts and mouth-watering cuisines, undeniably is amongst India's top choice of venues to hold G20 tourism working group meeting. The message has been sent to the world that normalcy has finally returned to Kashmir and once battered territory is now open to tourists and investors. China's objection to the event was expected. It accused India of seeking to normalize military occupation and portray an international seal of approval, which whether China likes or not, India has already successfully achieved. The number of registrations and attendance at the G20 meeting are a proof of G20's grand success. Not that China is unaware or unaffected by extremism, political anarchy and bankruptcy in Pakistan. Only recently, China had taken its all-weather friend Pakistan to task over the security provided to its ambitious CPEC projects and Chinese nationals living in Pakistan after a series of organized terrorist attacks killed dozens of Chinese citizens in Pakistan. Though China had repeatedly raised concerns with Pakistan officials over the issue. China is also furious with Pakistan over delayed implementation of CPEC projects to an extent that China has been forced to reconsider the future of its financial and manpower investments in Pakistan. With around $62 billion investment at stake, China has realized that Pakistan cannot be trusted. The Pak-China bond is unbreakable friendship is clearly under stress, but China still continues to use Pakistan as a proxy military and nuclear power against India. Turkey's absence too should not come as a surprise because India has struggled to maintain relationship with Turkey for decades now, even going to the extent of sending relief and medical supplies and disaster management experts with Operation Dost after a massive earthquake struck Turkey recently. But clearly, this attempts to reach out has not been enough. Turkey has consistently leaned towards Pakistan on the Kashmir dispute. The country has also raised the Kashmir issue at international forums. This consistent support to Pakistan on the Kashmir issue has been a major impediment in India-Turkey relations, and the stalemate between the two countries may as well continue further, with Turkey abstaining from the G20 meeting. Egypt's refusal to participate, though not a member but a special invitee, did come as a surprise as India's ties with Cairo has been over the years consistently gaining momentum. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi was a guest at this year's Republic Day celebrations. During the Republic Day meeting, both India and Egypt expressed concerns about the spread of terrorism around the world as the most grave threat to humanity, agreeing that joint action is the need of the hour to end cross-border terrorism. Both countries showed commitment at deepening defense and security cooperation. Saudi Arabia and India's ties too had been taking giant leaps, reaching its peak when Riyadh had refrained from criticizing New Delhi after the abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir. It is also to be noted that Saudi Arabia had also honored our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi with its highest civilian award, as a mark of appreciation for his efforts to boost bilateral ties between the two nations. Also, Saudi Arabia happens to be India's fourth largest trading partner. It was one of the many nations seeking business opportunities in Kashmir after Kashmir's autonomous status had been revoked. It is to be noted that even if there was no official representation, unofficial representatives from Saudi and Oman were a part of the G20 meeting in Srinagar. So what exactly went wrong? The only reason could be one of India's most incredible achievements in recently surpassing Saudi Arabia and emerging as Europe's biggest supplier of refined fuel, exporting 360,000 barrels of refined oil in a single day. Not only India's imports from Russia hit a record high, but were even higher than combined imports from Iraq and Saudi Arabia, who have been India's core oil suppliers since decades. This has upset Saudi's decades of dominance in the oil markets. The double whammy was perhaps a bitter pill to swallow. The absence of these countries in the G20 meeting does point to a very tricky diplomatic challenge, and when it comes to Kashmir, there still is a long way to go for Indian diplomacy. However, if we focus on the high representation from other members like Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, Germany, France, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, South Africa, South Korea, and the US and UK, India has been fairly successful in giving Kashmir a national and international significance and marketing Kashmir as a safe and peaceful travel destination on a global scale. Since the abrogation of Article 370, reports of terrorist attacks and incidents of stone pelting have subsided. A record 98.3% voter turnout was recorded in 2019 elections. 500 kilometers of national highway has been built. Power generation is expected to be doubled by 2025. UAE has placed $60 million of investment in the region. Apart from the most remarkable infrastructure upgrades, the government announced development projects worth 20,000 crore last year, which included hydroelectricity projects, constructing of roads and tunnels, expressways and solar power plants, to name just a few. The G20 summit was the much required shot in the arm to give Kashmir's economy a major multiplier effect. There is bound to be some resistance from certain factions as we reclaim our lost land. But finally, Kashmir is progressing in the right direction towards a brighter future, emerging from the shadows of its past with increased investments and better work opportunities. As the entire nation salutes the grit and determination of the Kashmiris who have survived the violent darkness of insurgency for decades, but are eager to bounce back. Do like, share and comment if you liked our video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. And the stalemate